Greetings everyone, and welcome to another Sol at the Movies. I just got back from seeing Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet by Disney Animation Studios. Here are my thoughts on it. So Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet's plot is that on a normal day in the arcades, 6 years after the first Wreck-It Ralph, Vanellope is getting bored of racing over and over again in Sugar Rush and she wants something different. So Ralph builds her a custom racetrack during the middle of the arcade day for her to race on. When she races and it makes the gamer angry, she accidentally breaks the wheel of the game. So Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope have to go and find a new replacement steering wheel for Sugar Rush, and the only place they can find it is on eBay, so they have to go to the internet and find the steering wheel so that they can get back before Sugar Rush is, well, unplugged and everyone becomes homeless. So this plot is, it's kind of like the mirror opposite of the original, but I am not fond of this plot at all, really. It's not that it's bad in practice, or sorry, not in theory. It's not bad in theory, it's just sort of a let's go on a fun adventure kind of thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but the problem is the execution. I mean, this movie has like 8 plots in it. Sorry, not 8 plots, but 8 acts in it. Each act is kind of its own little mini-arc, as opposed to the very cohesive, very understandable 3-act structure that worked so well for the first movie. This one's is just kind of like, let's go here, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, and then eventually the movie ends, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, that was fun, I guess, let's do it again sometime. It's just odd. I don't know why they decided to do that, especially because the first movie is so just straightforward. Now, you might know, but Wreck-It Ralph is my favorite 3D Disney movie. I adore that movie, and I didn't think that it needed a sequel at all, so I was already put into a bit of a sour mood with this movie, because it's like, well, it doesn't need to be here. The first movie's ending was perfectly fine. No sequel bait or anything like that. It ended. I would have preferred if it just stayed the way it was, but hey, here we are, we've got a sequel, so accepting the sequel for what it is, no, I'm not very fond of it, plot-wise, but there are other reasons why I'm not very fond of it. We'll get into that, though. In terms of the characters, Wreck-It Ralph is, I mean, in theory, the protagonist. He's definitely different from the first movie, which is good, because he did change at the end. He's a lot more positive, a lot more upbeat in this one. And he's insecure about Vanellope finding other friends and finding her own things to do, so he wants to keep her close always so that their perfect life can be preserved. Which is fine. It just seems like he's a little bit too positive, like all the negativity is gone from him, and that's weird considering that he is technically a bad guy, but whatever. I'm willing to let it pass, and, you know, I still like Ralph. Vanellope, though, Vanellope von Schweetz is kind of the main character in this. I mean, she gets the most focus. Now, Vanellope is the only part of the original movie I don't like. In fact, I hated Vanellope. The first one, she's obnoxious, she's bratty, she basically acts like a complete cunt the entire time and gets exactly what she wants in the end, and that's just... But in this one, they definitely grounded her a lot more. She's a lot less obnoxious, she's more focused, she doesn't call Ralph names, she doesn't treat him like shit. It's nice. I like the change with her. I don't really have any negative things to say about her, but in losing her bratty obnoxiousness, she kind of lost everything about her that was of note. So she's just kind of there, you know, nothing really to say about her, but I guess nothing to say is better than having just horrible flaming vitriol towards her, so hey, she gets a pass as well. Now there's also Shank, who is a female racer in an online game called Slaughter Race. Now, ooh, she is hot. She's very hot. She's sort of like a Gina Rodriguez from Fast and Furious type. She's very, very attractive female character. Not much to her character. She's supposed to come off as some sort of tough guy kind of in the game, but she's actually like really like sensitive and nice and down to earth. It's fine, I guess, but really the only thing of note about her is that she's good looking. And yeah, it's animation, so take that for what you will, but to me she's quite sexy, so there's that, I suppose. I mean, okay, so if you'll recall the first movie, if you've seen it, there were 2 other characters. There was Fix-It Felix Jr., and then there was Calhoun from the game Hero's Duty. Fix-It Felix Jr. and Calhoun are barely in this movie at all, which is infuriating to me, because Fix-It Felix is like my favorite character from the original movie. He is just Wander from Wonder Over Yonder, but he just Fix-It Felix Jr., played by the same guy, Jack McBrayer, and I love him. He's adorable, but he's not in this movie. He's like in the beginning, and he's in the end, and that's it. And they just don't show anything of what he does. He takes care of the 15 other racers of Sugar Rush after their game gets unplugged, and you don't get to see any of it. I guess it's better for pacing because the movie is already weirdly paced with its 8 acts and all, but I mean, that's really disappointing. I was hoping to see more of Felix, and he wasn't even in it. So, that sucks. There's other characters like Yes, the algorithm of the website BuzzTube, who I do have to say one thing about her is that I like that every time she appears on camera, she has a different outfit and hairstyle, which I thought was a really nice touch to show that the algorithm changes on a dime to suit whatever tastes it currently has. Doesn't have to tell us, it just shows us, and that's great. I like that. Wordless storytelling kind of thing is good. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about characters. I mean, there isn't anybody who's annoying or anything like that. They're all just sort of fine. They serve their purpose, I suppose. So yeah, not really any complaints here. What's good about this movie, though? Well, obviously the presentation is... it's unbelievably good, especially in the climax, which I'd rather not spoil here, but all I could think of through the whole climax was just the ending of the game Inside, which if you've played that game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just massive blob of flesh kind of thing. That's all I could think of. But really impressive animation in the climax. The attention to detail is quite good. I also like some of the technology nods, such as some of the playable people in Slaughter Race. They all act like they have really bad ping. So they're all like flashing around and they have crappy animations and everything like that. That's a little touch that I definitely appreciate. So it's the little touches that I really do like. The bad things, though, is the big touches. Like, everything else. Okay. I apologize if this word makes you cringe or anything like that. That's not my intention. But this movie's depiction of the internet is so normie. It really is. It's like the Emoji Movie. It's the safest depiction of the internet possible. You got your Instagrams, you got your Twitters, you got all the social media stuff that all the people love to do. You got the cat videos, and you got the Rick Rollins and all that stuff. Teehee, isn't it funny? You do realize the internet is an unbelievably fucked up place, right? How can you make a movie that is about exploring the internet and you don't see any porn? I get it, it's a kids' movie, it's Disney, you can't have porn, but they're trying to go for a realistic depiction of the internet. You can't do that if you omit stuff like porn, or furries, or anything that isn't just on the surface level for all of you Ugg-wearing, cappuccino-swilling, beard-having hipster bastards out there. I'm sorry, I really hate to say it, but this movie is so... It's too normie for me. There's so much more to the internet than just what the news reports or what your kid does. There's so much more to the internet than Fortnite and flossing. There's so much more, and that this movie doesn't show it because it's not safe. I mean, they make a Fortnite reference. God forbid they make a PUBG reference or anything like that, because PUBG has the capability of maybe being slightly controversial, whereas Fortnite, oh, it's fun. It's just what all those stupid 12-year-olds, they dance to. That's funny. Haha, that's a safe meme. 12-year-olds dancing, teehee, we'll make money from that. But where are my Pepes? Where are my deep-fried memes? The internet is a fucked up place, and trying to deny that by just omitting it entirely is wrong, in my eyes. It's the same problem as the Emoji Movie. I mean, this movie tries to depict the internet as a positive place, and that is a fatal mistake right there. The internet is a terrible place for terrible people to do terrible things, and that's what makes it great. Trying to pretend that everybody on the internet's a good guy at heart is wrong. Because there are trolls out there, there are assholes out there, there are anti-vaxxers and flat earthers, there are just people who will just ruin other people's days because it makes them feel better. That's what the internet is. It gives us the anonymity to be assholes to each other. But that's the thing, is all of this surface level internet stuff is all safe and happy. You got your Twitters, yeah, it's like not like people have controversial opinions on Twitter. You got your Instagrams, yeah, it's not like people share dick pics on there or anything like that. You got your Snapchats, oh, it's all about those funny filters, haha. It's just... I know this might sound like I'm a huge bastard saying this, like, wow, what a fucking bitch, you know, but it's true. I can't help it. I have a good understanding of the internet and how it works. I mean, yeah, they wouldn't show Reddit or anything like that. Of course not, because it isn't safe. The internet has to be safe for people when it's depicted in media, and that's not what the internet is. So I'm sorry, but this movie has a gigantically fatal flaw right at its core. It's that Disney tries to tackle something as vast and complex as the internet, and to me, it doesn't work. At all, really. It's just, to me, it comes off as a bunch of billboards for websites. Not as egregious as the Emoji Movie, but let me try to explain myself, okay? I've tried to explain why the first Wreck-It Ralph's advertisement of video games is more appropriate than this movie's advertisement of websites and stuff like that. And let me just try to explain it. So, a video game is something that somebody makes a part of themselves. Their personality, their memory, their experience. You remember that Ryu from Street Fighter punches the car. You remember that Pac-Man eats the dots and everything like that. It becomes a part of you. That's why people love to wear shirts and hats and belts and bags and all this kind of stuff. They like to express their love for this stuff. People don't do that with websites. A website is a tool. It's not a story or an experience or anything like that. You wouldn't walk around with a Google t-shirt and be like, yeah, my childhood was totally Google, man. It doesn't work like that. People don't use the internet the way that they use video games. So when you see a reference to a video game, it's like, yeah, I remember that. That's a part of me. It's special to me. You see a reference to Google or Instagram or Pinterest or anything, and you're just like, it's just an advertisement. It's just a tool. It's a website. We are indifferent to the websites themselves. It's only what they offer us is what's significant. Snapchat gives you the ability to look like an asshole. Facebook gives you the ability to talk like an asshole. It's all this kind of stuff. It's what we get out of it that makes it, you know, ours, I suppose, but it's not the entity itself that makes it ours. So, to me, this is just one gigantic advertisement, and they don't do anything to hide it, except at certain points, with, like, Slaughter Race, which isn't a real game. Also, if it's a browser game, that is the most sophisticated browser game ever, and if it isn't, then do they go into, like, the Steam browser client or something and play the game, or is it Origin, God forbid? Like, do you understand the internet or not? It's ridiculous, I have to say. There are other logistic problems too, like the BuzzTube, which is supposed to be a combination of BuzzFeed and YouTube. It doesn't make sense, because they make a YouTube reference right after saying that BuzzTube is the biggest media sharing platform on the internet, but then you say YouTube. But YouTube is the biggest media sharing platform on the internet, so is this a real depiction of the internet, or isn't it? Because if it is, YouTube is the biggest media platform, video sharing thing on the internet, and it's not like you can make a reference to Google but not YouTube. Like, YouTube is owned by Google, so why not? Is it because maybe YouTube doesn't have all safe and clean memes for you? Is it because people upload videos of them showing off dead bodies? Or pretending to kill their best friends for a prank? Or literal porn? All kinds of fucked up stuff? No, we need a fake video web sharing site where everybody uploads videos of their cats, or makeup tutorials, or unboxings, and haha, it's all so safe and fun. The internet's a fun place, isn't it? Even when they go to the comments section, it's all just weak sauce shit like, I hate Wreck-It Ralph, or Wreck-It Ralph is lame. Have you ever read an internet comment before? That stuff is the most vitriolic, vicious, none of it has to make sense. This is the problem. They're trying to make sense of the internet, and the internet does not make sense. Only the surface level stuff does. But that's not what the internet is. I'm sorry I'm going so deep into this, but it's such a huge problem I have with this movie that it drives me nuts. But another thing that drives me nuts, too, is a little bit more specific, is Ralph needs money to get the steering wheel for Sugar Rush. So his plan, I guess spoilers here if you haven't seen the movie and you plan to, I'd say just don't listen to this. Put your head in a pot or something and bang it with a spoon. His plan is to get money through BuzzTube by making viral videos, and that people like them, and each like is like, it equals money. So, okay, whatever. I guess that makes sense. But the problem is that he doesn't... That's not how ad revenue or online revenue works. If you're a new account to something, and you have AdSense or something, then it's not like you get the money immediately. I should know. It takes a long time. Some accounts are net 60. You have to wait 60 days to get your money. And there's a ticking clock element to this thing where they have 24 hours to claim the steering wheel. What was the plan exactly? And also, how did they know the shipping address to get the steering wheel shipped to Litwack? And how is Litwack not suspicious or weirded out when he gets a package for a $27,000 steering wheel that he didn't order? Like, and also, there's so many, like, so Ralph disappears from the arcade for at least 24 hours to go help Vanellope find the steering wheel. Remember how that was a big deal in the first movie about how when people leave their games, they go turbo, and that risks their game getting unplugged and getting all of their inhabitants homeless? What happened to that? I know Felix said that he would cover for Ralph, but how? It's a game. This isn't like a job, it's a game, and if the game doesn't function the way that it's normally supposed to, people are going to notice. Like, why does nobody notice that Vanellope is gone from Sugar Rush? It doesn't make any sense! Like, I'm sorry, there's just the little things keep piling up. There's other things, too, like, just, what, even the bad guys in the dark web. The dark web, yeah, ooh, it's a bit shady. There's some bad things that happen in the dark web. In the dark web, or the deep web, you can find horrible illegal stuff. You can find child porn, you can find gore, you can find weapons for sale. You can buy or see whatever you want on the dark web if you use something like Tor to get all that information. You can do that, but they wouldn't show any of that in this movie. The dark web's just a slightly more seedy part of the internet. Yeah, you mean the rest of the internet? Stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And then even the antivirus, the virus guy who gives Ralph the virus gives it to him for free. And he's like supposed to be a bad guy in the dark web, and he's still nice. It's just so stupid. I'm sorry, I really am like digging into this topic for like 10 minutes now, but it's such a huge problem with the movie that I can't like it as a result. If you don't care or aren't aware of these types of things, like if you're really not computer savvy or internet savvy like I am, you probably won't care. You'll get a kick out of this movie, I'm sure. But for me, who is just, you know, I work with computers for a living. I'm on the internet basically 24/7. The only time I'm not on the internet is when I'm asleep. And I live and breathe the internet. I live and breathe technology, and to see it constantly misrepresented by these lame companies, it just pisses me off. Now, it doesn't piss me off as much as the Emoji Movie, but it still does. At least the presentation's better in this movie, but still. I mean, a Twitter reference is a Twitter reference, no matter what movie it's in. So, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of other problems I have with the movie, too, but a lot of it's too specific for me to go into. It just, I mean, so would I recommend this movie? Well, like I said, if you're not particularly computer or internet literate and you don't care, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I mean, it's colorful, it's fun, and everything like that. But if you're part of the subversive audience who understands the more fucked up side of the internet and prefers it that way, then this movie might piss you off a little bit too much. I'm willing to accept the fact that these problems probably just bother me, as in like, wow, you're such a bitch, Sol, you and your internets, you know, like, you think you're special because you use the internet differently. No, I'm just saying I understand the internet, and this is not a good depiction of the internet, and when that's your whole selling point of the movie, then it's bad. So, for people like me, I would say no, I don't recommend it. But if you don't care, then sure, I mean, you'll probably enjoy it. I really don't think there's anything more to say than that, so that's all I have to say about that.